Welcome back to my channel. This is like my second time recording this, so hopefully it goes well. Okay, so if you've watched part 1 and 2, that means you now have your admin stuff sorted out. Well, not sorted out, it doesn't have to be sorted out right now, but you know, you have notes on that. You have your product category outlined, your product, just not your category, but just your entry product outlined as well. You have that aside. Now you're wondering, how am I going to sell this? Like, what am I going to do? I'm on a budget. I don't have no money for no ads. I have no money for no lavish website, etc, etc. Well, that's what this episode is about. This episode is going to give a brief breakdown on how to sell it and where to sell it on a budget if you are on a tight budget. All right, one more thing I want to mention. If you are new here, you stumbled upon this video randomly, just to let you know, this is part 3 of a mini workshop series I'm doing on how to start a handmade skincare business on a budget. So if you're interested in that, definitely check out parts 1 and 2 and then come to this, or if not, if you just want to start from here, that's perfectly fine as well. So let's get into the meat of this video. So in this video, we're going to go over 3 sections that I've put together. 1 is selling on Instagram, 2, your website, number 3, your pop-up shop. So these are all fall under a category of getting customers. So Instagram would be, if you're into retail, I'm going to explain some of the terms, but we're going to use retail examples for this. So you know how you go to a mall, and these stores are there because they want customers, right? So Instagram would be your mall. With Instagram being your mall, that's what you're going to use to get your customers to purchase from you and create probably a community and create returning customers, you know, know, like, and trust, right? That's what you're going to do with Instagram. So put that down. Then you have your website. Your website is going to be considered your flagship store. Your flagship store is a store that's like one of the most important store, and it have all your pieces. It has information. It's basically everything about you, everything about the business, pieces, all of that. So the website is a flagship store, and ultimately that's where you want your customers to go. Yes, they can purchase from the mall, which is your Instagram, but you also want them to purchase from your flagship store. Now, if your Instagram, which is your mall, is constructed correctly, from them being on your Instagram and purchasing, eventually they will end up on your website based on how your Instagram is constructed. So they all work hand in hand. Now, the third portion of this is your pop-up shop. Pop-up shop is subjective, and it's not everyone chooses to do a pop-up shop, and that's perfectly fine, because some people go online, start an online store, and they have massive success from just being online, and that is perfectly fine. Now, that isn't the way for everyone, and I need you to understand that this does not happen for everybody. It can happen for you, but it doesn't happen for everybody. So don't think because it doesn't happen for you that something is wrong with you. It takes time, and maybe that is not your route. Maybe you need to take a different route. Maybe the pop-up shop route is your route, and that's perfectly fine. No shame in your game. Just do what you need to do for your business and to move it up, right? So now that we've gone over each portion and what this is about, now let's get into the detail of each one. The first one we're going to go over in detail is the mall, which is Instagram. I should have said Instagram, which is the mall. Either way, is Instagram. So Instagram being your mall, you're wondering, okay, so Instagram is my mall. Like, how am I going to attract them? Because in the mall, people just walk into your store, right? How do they walk into your store? They walk into your store by seeing, looking at. Sometimes you're in a mall, and when you walk around a mall, what do you pay attention to? You pay attention to the outside of the store. You pay attention to just walking by the store, and what do you see? Right? So now with that analogy, Instagram being a mall, walking around and just seeing things and being drawn into it, with what do you think in Instagram will drive that type of traffic, or just have that type of emotion on customers that are scrolling? Yes, I'm going to say it. You probably don't want to hear it, and it's probably annoying to some people with the way that Instagram is going. I am also not a fan of all the upgrades, but we have to be real here. The main thing that would do that is Instagram Reels. Yes. Instagram Reels. Now wait, before you click off and get upset because you don't want to do video, hear me out. When Instagram just started, when I started, there was no Instagram Reels. We could have done pictures, carousels, hashtags, and that's how we were discovered. Now, because Instagram is now changing and trying to be like other platforms, we as entrepreneurs have to adapt as well and probably change some stuff. And to be honest with you, when you're just starting out, the best thing to do is to hop onto the new feature with one or two old features to help mold your Instagram account, especially in the space that you're about to enter in. Correct? So with that said, you as a handmade skincare entrepreneur, because I'm talking to you, and now you're like, okay, so I need Reels is one of them. That's just one bullet in Instagram. So Instagram Reels will be considered that person. Have you ever been like driving or in a mall and you see somebody spinning a clock, or they have on a chicken suit and they're sending you to the store? That's what I consider Instagram Reel. Instagram Reel is literally your customer driver. Like, that's the driver of your customers. It's going to bring them to your storefront. Your storefront is your grid, like the Instagram grid. So Instagram Reels is what brings customer into your storefront. So let's break it down. Instagram Reels is bringing customers to your storefront, which is your Instagram grid, right? You might not want to show your face on this, and that's perfectly fine. I didn't most of the time. I only did it when I was applying my face product so people could see me using it. Otherwise, from that, you want to take note. But something that is very important is, no matter what you're creating, where you're creating, when you're creating, how you're creating, what you need to do is document this process. Documenting your process will allow you to have videos and pictures and anything like that that you could use and post on your Instagram. The best way to document it is to use your phone. Now, you're starting off on a budget, so you probably don't have a budget for a stand and a ring light. That is perfectly fine. However, as time progresses, do invest in a phone stand and a ring light, and there's pretty cheap, decent ones on Amazon. I'll link to the ones that I have below that I didn't, as a matter of fact, no. I'm just going to link to the ones that I upgraded to, but to be very honest with you, in the beginning, I did not have a phone stand. So as I was creating, I would stop, hold my camera up, and I'll take pictures of it. When I had a KitchenAid, because it mixes on its own, I'd hold my camera, and the angles are so weird with the KitchenAid. I had to like push my camera in. It was kind of weird. I'm gonna post a video of it just so I can get some content. That's perfectly fine. As times change and you upgrade and you make more money, then you could invest in certain small things to help for better content creation. The next thing I want to point out about content creation with Reels, bright lighting. That when I was, making a lot more skincare products, the lighting will help. The lighting will help so people can actually see what's happening, because that's what I saw on a lot of skincare businesses, and that's what really draw people in. So I'm going to show some examples of those as well. The next thing you want to do is this, and please, I know you can go through Reels and get carried away, but when you go and sit down and go through Reels, tell yourself that I am going through Reels in order to get inspiration, not too fast. Go through Reels and get inspiration. Look at people, other skincare businesses, and get inspiration. Don't copy everything, but it doesn't hurt to get inspired. Look at it and say, how can I make this my own and do it differently? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a completely different business. Look on it and get inspiration and do it. Just keep doing it. And I'm telling you all of this because with my Instagram account, I started it, stopped, and each time I did something different, and I noticed what worked and what didn't work. You will be somebody else who has a lot of drive, and you could probably use this information and do 10 times better with it than I did. So definitely scroll through it and get some inspiration from your Reels. So remember, let's recap. Instagram Reels is your customer driver. That is what you're going to use to get their foot in the door. That's what they're going to use to come. They're going to see that and be like, okay, let me check your storefront. So that's what we're going to do with Instagram Reels. Now, can this be done without Instagram Reels? Of course. There's other ways, but I'm just saying, Instagram Reels kind of is the way to go right now. But there's other ways. People are making their pictures like 5-second pictures so it can get in the algorithm, all those other ways. But all those things, right? However, all of that calculation, it can become overwhelming. Some of us don't have the time for that. Some of us, we don't have time to be doing all these things. It becomes overwhelming, and it's very discouraging to having to, knit and pick and choose, oh, this thing I have to do, this thing. It's a lot for one person, especially when you are the formulator. So this is why I say pick a few things, and this is why I'm pointing out the ones that I think you should focus on in the beginning, if that suits you. And if not, then that's perfectly fine. There's no set way how to do this, because as far as I'm concerned, everybody right now is making it up as they go along. Even if they say they have a system, they made up that system as they go along, and their system may not work for you, and that's the hard truth. So now let's get to the other part of your mall, your Instagram mall. So now you've created great reels, and it's bringing people to your storefront, it's bringing people to your grid, right? So it's like, oh my gosh, all these people are here. What do you have? What are you gonna put on it, right? So I consider your Instagram grid to be the place where you would have your signage. If you're in retail, you know what I mean by signage, right? So your signage is any type of graphic display that communicates a message to a target audience. So does that sound familiar to you? So think about it. When you're at the mall and you're walking through the mall and you see these decals and these different signage on the mall window, that's why most of these mall windows, like these storefronts, they're glass, so they can put the signage in so it can draw you in. Your Instagram grid is your digital version of a mall storefront signage. And why I say this is your signage, because remember, even though it has, there's a decent size square, what's on the picture, sometimes have you ever been on an Instagram post profile and you click on a picture that stands out? That is why your grid is your signage, because some people just skim through it and they want to see stuff. So it's important that the pictures they're seeing is a reflection of your business and makes them want to actually click on it, right? Also, if you're just starting out and you're literally starting out from zero, I suggest that before you start reels, have 12 posts on your Instagram page so you can have a full grid, so it doesn't look empty, it doesn't look like a scammer page or something. Because when you start reels and people start coming over and they're looking at your grid, which is your storefront, like for example, you go into the mall, you go to a storefront and they have great decals, great signage, you walk into the store, but the store is empty. Yeah, we don't want that. Imagine walking through the mall, seeing the store with glass windows. It's a store, it's obviously selling things because there's some things inside of it, but there's like no signage on front, so you don't know what store this is. You kind of don't know what they sell. You kind of don't know what you're going into. So 9 times out of 10 you walk past it because it's like, what am I going into here for? Like, what are you selling? Like, I don't know. I'm going to go to a store that I know that would have the thing that I want. So this is why you don't want to leave your Instagram grid naked when you're just starting out. It's important that you have 12 posts so you have a full grid showing things about the business, so that when you do post your reel and people do click on your profile, they say, oh, this storefront looks pretty nice. This has nice grids, right? Yeah, it won't say nice grids, but yeah, they'll look at it. And I'm not saying your grid has to be perfect. Just have information, some things so the customers can know what they're looking at, with the bio as well, because your Instagram bio is a part of the selling, but make sure they have something to look at and read in your bio. So the next part of Instagram we're going to discuss is the guides, your post descriptions, and your carousels. I consider these all to be your shelf talkers. Shelf talkers are retail display fixtures often made out of cardboard or plastic, which are located on the shelf where the products are sold. So these are usually in your storefront. So on Instagram, your shelf talkers will be your description, your guides, and your carousels. All these features will help you to describe your product. So the guides are kind of like shelf talkers, but I honestly would say it's more like if you want to be organized, if customers want to be I want an eczema butter, or if they're looking for certain things, body butters, you can use your guides to organize your post in a way that it shows all the posts that have description about your products. Like if you made posts that were talking about a product, you can create a guide about such product and say winter collection, and have all the winter collection posts in one, so your customers should go in the guide and look at that. Now, I don't think the guide really drive customers to your Instagram, and that's fine. You can just use it as a way to organize. So that's perfectly fine. I don't think it's something that you have to really go hard on. The next thing I want to talk about is your videos. Your videos are actually, to me, are visual shelf talkers. So because your videos are visual shop talkers, these are longer than reels. So you want to use this for, like, you know, if you're packing, if you're speaking about a product, you know, you want to apply a product to your face and actually speak to the customers. If you want to do like a Q&A, you know, something like that, I think your long form video is really good for that. And it's good to give a lot of detailed explanation rather than a quick thing like the reels to your customers. So the next thing we're going to talk about is your bio. So I know there's a lot of truth and facts and a lot of things that they say about your bio, because your bio have to get straight to the point. You know, you let them know what kind of business into this, what you're selling. And I usually put what kind of business in this, what you're selling. And usually what you're selling is like the main products that you're selling. And then I also add into it, because I used to pop up, I'll put my pop-up shop location, and then the main thing, which is your flagship storefront, the link in your bio, which is your website link. That is very important to have there as well. Or you can do a tree link, like a milkshake link, which is, I'm going to show you mine here, which helps to link your customers to other parts of your website. Canva now has a link in bio where it shows different products from your website. You can use Linktree to add different links for different products in your link in bio in Instagram, which is perfectly fine, because you can use that to add like different products that you're probably promoting, maybe like something specific, maybe a mailing list that you want them to click on. You can add it in your Linktree or any one of these links, and then it will be available for your customer. So that is another important tip. So your IG highlights are used to give a snippet of your page and a snippet of what you're about, your company is about, and the products that you have. So usually you'd want to have a IG highlight with reviews, testimonials. You want to have one with your policy, shipping, return, processing time, etc. Highlight with maybe about the company, about you, and a highlight if you do customizations, a highlight about customizations. So the highlight is usually where the customers, as they click on it, they could get like a quick snippet of everything and then move on or continue to link. So your highlights are usually filled with like if you have a post and you share it in your stories, that is usually where the content for your highlight comes. So you have to put it in your story first and then you add it to your highlight. So you can go ahead in the beginning and add things in your story about the business and then add it to your highlight so that when customers come, they'll be able to see it. So that's a good feature as well. And now I've been told that Instagram has a new feature where you can pin certain posts to the top. If this is the case and it is available, you want to pin the posts to me that are full of value, informational, and that got a lot of traction, that you think that you believe the customers will really like to see and has a lot of attraction, and it gets straight to the point. So those are the posts that I think you would pin to the top, that I believe that you should pin to the top. So now we've just completed the mall. So the next topic is your flagship storefront.